The Confessions of St. Augustine, a 21st century St. Augustine. Well, it is the title of the book, and the third novel of the trilogy is called The Missionary, albeit he's not much better at that than he was a husband. So, of course, to compound his failure, he tries it on whom else but his ex-wife. Because getting back to the desert, indoors becomes as much a way of life as outdoors. Indoors consisting of small, seedy trailers to run down double-wides at best, and one cement block building called the dining room. Your only protection from the oppressiveness of an environment that sometimes can only be taken in small doses. And yet, ironically, maybe less than a mile away are areas with towering cottonwood trees and fertile green pastures that benefit from the shade of the cottonwoods and the river's irrigation or mountains only a few more miles away, rising sometimes over 8,000 feet, where on the hottest summer day, it's still cool and green and lush. So somehow in all this, it never seems unattainable. It's just not here. Anyway, getting back to carrying out the Great Commission to those closest to you, and ye will be my witnesses. Back when I used to teach in Miami, I used to walk down by the water after classes. There was a park there. It was sort of like Union Square in San Francisco and the Boston Commons in Boston, where anybody and everybody came to espouse whatever it is they wanted to espouse. Hare Krishnas, Scientologists, Christians, it was a free-for-all of ideas, much like I suppose Mars Hill was back in the Apostle Paul's day. Anyway, I used to envy the Christians who'd take part. Not because I was afraid to, but because it would have been nice to be able to reduce it to such a simple level. Just get up and preach, and that's that. Hit and run, speak to people you've never seen or will see again. Your life is never on display, you just come and go. There was no commitment other than to finish preaching, and if you bombed, there would always be another crowd, another place, another time. But in a school, you're stuck. In a mission, you're stuck. In a job, you're stuck. In a marriage, you're stuck. You live with your mistakes, which sometimes are many, and sometimes even for the rest of your life. Like, disgusting? I didn't mean it that way. Well then, how did you mean it? I didn't mean you were disgusting, I just meant the fat. That's disgusting, but there's still the real you. The real me, Gus, is fat, okay? I've been a skinny person all my life who's really fat inside, okay? Because inside that skinny person was a person screaming to be fat. That clarify things? I'm fat, and I like it, okay? I like food. I'm tired of depriving myself of the things I really like, Gus. Like food, okay? I like food. Food likes me. We have a good relationship, food and me. Unlike you, who won't eat this, won't eat that. No, don't touch that. Might get fat. Might put on a pound or two, God forbid. And what you do eat makes you sick half the time anyway. Indigestion, diarrhea, bloating, all this for what? So you can have less than 4% body fat, while the other 96% is still in your head? See what I mean? Try and be a good witness after that, especially when you really did mean it. I mean, I love you, but... Yeah, but I don't love your fat. Well, my fat's me. Love it or leave it. So you do. Love it. Or at least you try. And sometimes you actually do love it. Even physically. Especially physically. Sometimes only physically, since why else would you? Because in your saner moments, you're a raging maniac again, thinking of all the promises of youth, dashed, hopelessly gone, never to be a part of your marriage again. That beautiful girl with the figure of a pinup? Gone. That's logical. What's illogical is when your hormones all of a sudden find her body the most desirable body on the face of the earth, and you wouldn't dream of anybody else's for no other reason than you can't. Or you shouldn't, which is called being faithful, for which I got no credit. No, it was those saner moments of objectivity when my mind raged against the obvious. You're in good shape, and she's a fat slob. So how do I love her the way Christ loved the church, and how do I maintain a good witness, Lord? By praying? What I couldn't accomplish in the marriage, I can maybe outside of the marriage? Like, forgetting that which was behind, I press forward to win my ex-wife? But forgetting what? Leaving what behind? Her fat behind? Fat behind. So forgetting that which was behind, her fat étal. How's that? Or am I being sarcastic again? Boy, this gets tough, Lord. I press forward to the high calling of winning my ex-wife to you by being patient, loving, not getting caught up in all these negative perceptions, this verbal tit for tat, not arguing about anything, in fact, voicing nothing, unless asked. Nothing except that which would reflect your light in my life. She talks about politics, don't get drawn in. She talks about religion, don't get drawn in. In fact, she talks about anything, don't get drawn in. Only when asked. And even then, you know you won't finish the first sentence before she'll butt in anyway, so just avoid while she raves on. Raves on, was that good or bad? About this or that, because the most important thing here, Lord, is that she come to you. All else pales by comparison, right? What do you think I am, some goddamn atheist? I believe in God. I never said you didn't. But I didn't say it. This is when you just shut up. I do. I just believe there's a lot of different ways, like reincarnation. So next time I come back as a bug and she squashes me, I wonder how bugs progress. I always figured them for innocence. And it does what he's supposed to do. You mean if some do better than others, they can make a jump up next time? Next time around you're a dog who makes the mistake of peeing on his master's carpet so he's back to an ant again? You're not even listening. I'm listening. What'd I say? You believe in reincarnation. Why couldn't there be? It's appointed unto man once to die, then the judgment. Hebrews 97, I think, or was it somewhere else? You've already told me that 100 times over. All right, how about, why should Hitler get a second chance? You're the one who says God is the God of second chances. But Hitler never took it. Then he gets another chance in his next life. As an ant? No! Well, what? As a dog? A cat? A what? Am I missing something here? Don't be ridiculous. Really, I want to know. The slate could be wiped clean of the murder of 6 million Jews by merely being reincarnated as an amoeba. That's as low as you can go, right? An amoeba? And then what? What moral choice can I possibly have now that I'm an amoeba that can possibly elevate me to the next level? And so on up to the poor mutt who pees on his master's carpet. You're impossible. See, I told you why I'd just shut up. A mistake my daughter used to make, not shutting up. With my daughter, it'd be politics too. I'd tell her, who cares? Jesus never did, so why should we? Just stick to the issue. Does she know the Lord or not? Yes, I believe in God. But do you know him? Big mistake. Shouldn't have even answered. Now I'll have to bear the salvos in patience and in love. What do you mean, know him? You mean, is Jesus my personal savior? Do I have a personal relationship with Jesus? What kind of a relationship are we talking about here, Gus? Have I had a vision of a 900-foot Jesus who tells me to come across with $1 million or he's going to snuff me out? Or do I hear voices, see visions? Just what kind of a relationship are we talking about here, Gus? Sexual, social, what? See, I already knew the answer, so why'd I even ask the question? No Jesus, no peace. No Jesus, no peace. Yeah? Yeah. No Jesus, no peace, no Jesus, no peace? No. No Jesus, K-N-O-W, no peace. No Jesus, N-O, no... Oh, please. What? This is all very profound, Gus, but aside from convincing me you're a bigger shithead than I thought you were, what the hell is the difference between believing in Jesus and knowing Jesus? Because even Satan believes there's a Jesus. So now I'm the Antichrist. No! Dang. You believe George W. Bush is president, but you don't know him, do you? No, and I also don't believe George W. Bush is president either. All right, you don't believe George W. Bush is president, and you don't know him either, right? Somehow it doesn't seem so effective stated that way. Right. You know George Washington was president, but you don't know him either, right? How could I? He's dead. How about Gore? Will you settle for Gore? Sure, I know Gore is president, but I don't know him. Right. So Gore is like Jesus? Only difference is I don't know him? Who? Jesus or Gore? Precisely. You see, all that for what? I didn't even know what we were talking about. I don't even know what I was talking about. Because by the time I've made my point, if I've even had a point, it's too late. It's like explaining a joke too many times. So anyway, getting back to who's on first, I usually don't force anything. I just let it take its course, since one of my daughters still lives at home, and I still see her on their ranch, which my ex replaced the last ranch with, the last one being the one in Florida. This one's in Arizona, not too far from where I work. Another thing in her craw, where I work. But since I'm all through child support, alimony, and all that, there's nothing she could do about it now. No more demands of how many paintings I crank out or if I ever crank out. Where I work, how much I make. I'm a free man in that respect. Only concern maybe is where I live or where she lives. I'm not sure. I suppose at worst it was a compromise we could both live with. At best, a plan that worked out best for both of us. She got her ranch in Arizona, and I got to be that missionary to the lepers. In the desert. In Arizona. Since if you know Arizona, you can be in the desert in one place and in less than half an hour be in the most lush forests you can imagine. She actually lives somewhere in between. Anyway, it's the lepers, she convinced, are the final proof of my insanity, an opinion shared by many others, too. However, what they don't know is, blessed is nothingness. The joy of not owning, not possessing, is really the reverse. Not being owned, not being possessed by anything but God. An insane concept for most people. But see, the beauty of that is, if God really wants you doing it, He'll make sure you do, one way or another. To be continued. The Confessions of St. Augustine. Now available on Amazon.com.